Welcome back to another episode of Leading in AI with Greg Shove, a series from Spark and Section created to help New Zealand businesses confidently navigate the evolving world of AI. I'm Ben Moore, your host for this series. Joining me is Greg Shove, CEO of Section, an online business school helping professionals become AI literate, and founder of Machine and Partners, an AI development lab building practical tools and workflows for businesses around the world. Greg is a world-class educator on everything AI in business. Today, we're exploring AI training. Hi, Greg. Nice to see you again.
Ben, great to see you.
So today we're talking about AI training. And so it's all well and good for a business leader to have all of this knowledge and all of this capability, but they need to actually be able to get their staff along for the ride as well. And you're going to have disparate levels of capability among your staff. Some people who are really advanced and clever with this stuff, and some people who may be pushing back against it a little bit. How do you start to think about actually getting training going within your ranks that will be effective and encourage people to use these tools effectively?
Well, Ben, let's zoom out a little bit and talk about what AI is and isn't, because I think the first mistake most leaders make is they think AI is software, and they buy it and deploy it like they've bought other software for their organization, and it's not. Thinking that AI is software is a big mistake. It's a co-intelligence. It doesn't behave like software in a lot of ways. It's not like a CRM or ERP or some sort of marketing automation software. This is this weird new technology that makes us smarter. It's like borrowing 30 points of IQ every morning when we go into work. It's got a lot of upside, but it behaves erratically. It hallucinates. If you ask it the same question, an hour later, you'll get a somewhat different answer when you work with most AIs. Software doesn't work that way. Like, we're used to software that behaves the same way every time we use it. We're used to software that, even if we're not very good at using that software, the software kind of does its job. Sure, there are people who are better at using it, Salesforce, than others, and they can get more out of Salesforce or Excel. There are people that can write Excel macros and people that can't. But bottom line is, once you've got some basic capability, you get enough value out of the software. Again, AI is not like that. So much of the value of AI is based on the user's ability to know how to use it. And to your point, people are on a real big continuum of sort of capability with AI. And I would say most people aren't, of course, power users. There's probably 5% of any typical organization are those ambitious people with the growth mindset, the intellectually curious. They've probably picked up AI on their own, maybe at home. They've got ChatGPT on their phone. They're already up and running. But the rest of us are not. And as you already indicated, we're probably anxious about it. Concerned that it might, take our jobs or sort of make our jobs less valuable or less meaningful. So we have a little bit of anxiety and resistance, and then we have this wide variability in terms of capability to use AI, and this mindset, it's like software. I should buy it and deploy it, run a couple trainings, and it's all going to be fine. It's not. The other issue, of course, is these AI models, these AI technologies are changing all the time. It makes it really hard to be a user of AI because the industry is moving at just really breakneck speed in terms of releasing new capabilities. It's almost impossible to keep up. My advice to any leader is, first of all, pick one great AI and provide it to your team and pay for it. So it doesn't matter necessarily which one, because it looks like they're all converging to have the same basic set of capabilities. So it could be ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Microsoft Copilot. Probably depends on what other technology systems you have in place. At my company, at Section, we're a Google shop. So Google Gemini wasn't that good until recently. So we definitely defaulted to ChatGPT, but now we're going to be introducing and paying for Google Gemini because the latest model is a good model. That's the first step. Before you train, pick and deploy, a good AI model.
And just to ask you a question about that, what do you mean by pick and deploy a model? Are you just talking about, give them the standard chatbot, but like a paid version of it? Or are you saying the kind of Copilot style workflow, workspace integration? Like, what level do you think people should start at if they are planning to help their team upskill?
I think it is a LLM, a chatbot front end to an LLM. So that's ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, and a good one. What I mean by that is the paid version, the versions that aren't crippled in terms of their features or functionality. Offer your team sort of full, what I call full functioning AI as of today, which would be something like ChatGPT for enterprise or Gemini for teams, for example. Start there, and now of course we have to train. And I think the way to think about training is you've got to get everybody proficient as quickly as possible. And so I think most of the workforce is, as you suggested, anxious and basically novices when it comes to AI. So the transformation that you want to take your team on is to go from anxious and novice to proficient and confident. They can't be scared of AI. They can't be anxious about AI. We want them using AI, knowing that they're going to make themselves more valuable if they use AI. And I think a big part of that is, what are leaders saying about AI? Again, you can offer the training, but if you're not talking about what is the role of AI in the business, what is the why of AI? Why does this leader want the team to adopt and use AI? What's the goal of this? And then what's the attitudes about AI? I see so many leaders focused on AI policies and AI rules and regulations, and they're needed. You need some guardrails for AI, particularly around corporate data and customer data and so on. So you definitely need some policies or guardrails. But also, what's your manifesto about AI? What's your point of view about AI? Are you going to encourage the team to use it? Are you going to reward people for using it? Are you going to recognize people? Are you going to remind people that you don't think it's cheating to use AI? That sort of, smart workers use AI, not the ones who are cutting corners. So that these attitudes and sort of behaviors about AI, I think, are frankly more important than the rules and regulations around AI, because employees need to know, where do I stand if I really invest my own time to get good at using these tools? And that eventually will mean, where do I stand in terms of my job? And I do think a lot of leaders are avoiding the jobs question and the impact on jobs, and I don't think that's the right thing to do. Our employees aren't stupid.
Some companies can take it a little too far and say, that's it, we're AI first and everybody has to do it or else you're out. And that approach can also start to backfire a little bit.
I think that's right. But I think what we're seeing, at least here in the US, is a growing sort of impatience from CEOs. Last week, it was Andy Jassy from Amazon being very clear about how the workforce will be impacted by the adoption of AI technologies. And again, I don't think anyone at Amazon who's hearing that is surprised. And quite frankly, I think they probably appreciate that he's at least being honest and upfront around the potential impact of AI. But at the same time, Amazon is a company that's prided itself since day one on offering the most goods and services in the most affordable way to consumers. So AI is going to make Amazon more efficient, both in the warehouse and distribution centers, where AI is already fully integrated, and now in the knowledge workforce. And that's the why of AI for Amazon. The why of AI for Amazon is make more of their products and services more accessible to more people at lower price, because that's been their value proposition from day one. So again, what I challenge leaders to do is think about, what is the current why of your organization or your team, whatever business you're in. And then, can AI make that why sort of more possible? Can AI improve that why, whatever that why is, access or affordability or quality, whatever it is that differentiates your business, your product or service? Can AI help that? Can AI enable that? The team can buy into that. The team knows there's going to be some impact on their workforce. It may not happen overnight. It might happen in a couple, 3 years. But again, our teams aren't dumb. And frankly, when you start to play with AI, here's one of the good news about getting good at using AI. When you're good at using AI, you realize it's not going to take your job anytime soon. Well, I tend to find the highest anxiety, with employees is the employees that don't use AI very much, and they're listening to the media or listening to all the hype, or But when you really start working with AI, you see it's immensely valuable and useful, and you also see its flaws very quickly. And you experience its hallucinations, and you experience agents that don't work. And so when you do that, you're like, okay, this is going to be helpful, and it's not taking my job anytime soon. I think that's right.
So let's take it back to training. And, you made the comparison earlier to other kinds of software. And so if I roll out a piece of software in my company, I can, like you say, do a few trainings, maybe get the manual and say, if you have any problems, look it up. But you can't really do that with generative AI. So kind of extracting from what you've just said there, does it make sense to kind of create an internal manual that starts to think about within our workflows, within our capabilities, what is generative AI good for, and then specifically teach people how to do those things?
Yeah, exactly. I think you do two things. I think first, you give everybody these proficiency skills and you let them find their own use cases and find the ways that they can put AI to work for themselves. And they'll do that both at the office and at home, and I think that's good. The more, again, the more proficiency we have, learning how to do things like, deep research queries with AI, which you could use at home for, for help with medical questions or parenting questions, and you could do it at work, for competitive analysis or market research or things like that. Or learn how to basically analyze data, with your AI for whatever data you work on in terms of yourself and your own team, at the office. So I think that general level of proficiency, update it probably every 6 months. So don't do it once, set and forget. That doesn't work with AI, not for the next several years, maybe ever. I think AI, again, the pace of AI development is just incredible. And then also you complement that with what you just described. You do workflow audits at the team level. You find the higher value use cases that more than one person will benefit from. So look for workflows and look for use cases where a handful or 10 or 20 or 1,000 people might get benefit from if AI could help with that workflow, and then codify it. Write it down in some way. It could be a prompt library. It could be an automation like a GPT or a Claude project or a Microsoft Studio. All these capabilities have different names in each one of these AI ecosystems, but they're all basically the same. So absolutely, once something works, and if one person figures out a workflow, we want to encourage them to share it, so others can copy the exact same workflow with their AI. That's why your attitudes about AI are so important. You don't want people hiding their use of AI. You want them talking about it, and frankly, where it doesn't work as well. When people have tried AI and it's failed, we should be sharing that as quickly as possible so everybody else doesn't waste their time trying to figure that out. And again, copies the good stuff, it's already been figured out. And again, the more you can codify it, write it down, sort of productize it in some way into a template or a sort of predefined workflow, the better, because other people can just grab that and kind of get going.
This might be a stupid question, but whose job is that? Is that the IT leader? Is that the business development? Like, who within your team should you be giving the role of, I guess, head of AI and figuring out what workflows are good and figuring out where it's not going to work and writing it all down?
Sure. I mean, first of all, I think we do need a head of AI, at least in this sort of transition moment. I think eventually we probably won't need heads of AI because AI will be everywhere in our organizations and our workflows. But I would start with a head of AI who's a non-technical leader, in my opinion. I think they'll partner with the technologists. But I think people who understand the business and the business workflows, the way business gets done, are the people who should be the head of AI. I think they need to find AI champions. So after your head of AI, get your AI champions together. They're going to be the ones that will likely have already found those workflows and they just haven't told you. Or if you sort of anoint them as champions and give them that sort of remit, hey, go into your teams and find these workflows and show the team how to automate them or sort of AI enable them, that'll be kind of your next step. And they'll begin to codify them. And then I think finally we are going to create new positions in our organizations. One is going to be an AI workflow designer. That's a new position we're hiring for at Section. That position did not exist until last week. And you'll see that job kind of posting turn up on our website any day now because we need to hire some of them. So, AI workflow designers are sort of this new role, which is a mix. Someone who's AI savvy, but not a technologist necessarily, but understands AI's capabilities deeply enough so when they do a workflow audit and understand a human workflow, they can figure out where AI fits. We're also going to hire AI workflow engineers. Basically, the advanced version of a prompt engineer. And that advanced version is someone that can string together several AI steps or several AI automations into more of a complete workflow. So you'll see us hiring for those people as well soon. And I would expect you'll see that job description turn up or variations of that job description turn up all over companies in the coming year or two.
Are there any good resources that you can kind of point to and say, oh yeah, this is like a great LLMs for dummies, or some place that you think people can go to help either gather information that they can pass on, or they can point their employees and say, go and have a read of some of this?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube. Lots of amazing stuff on YouTube. The AIs themselves, I think the fastest way, again, if you have this sort of curious mindset, the fastest way to learn AI is just get a subscription to Claude or GPT or Gemini and start playing with it. And by the way, you can ask AI how you should prompt it. So if you're not sure how to prompt, and no one's ever taught you how to prompt, then remember that AI is not Google, so don't treat it like Google. It is a co-intelligence that you need to have a conversation with. And if you're not sure how to have that conversation, tell AI the answer you're looking for, or tell AI the problem you're working on, and ask AI to tell you how to prompt it. And just cut and paste that prompt back into the AI, and it'll start working with you. And the last thing I'd say, and I got to mention this, we've built an AI coach called Prof AI, and Prof AI is free for consumers. Our mission, our why at Section, is to get 1 million people around the world to be AI proficient as quickly as possible. And so, in my opinion, the fastest way for us to do that is to create an AI coach. So we created one. So we have an AI-powered AI coach. And the name of that is Prof AI. It's prof.ai. Go there, and if you're a consumer, you can get certified as being AI proficient. It'll take it between an hour and a half of your time. And when you finish, you'll be confident and proficient in AI. Companies have to pay because we got to make money somehow. But I want all consumers, I want schools, colleges, high schools, and so on to have access to Prof AI at no cost.
Is it still worth it to have formal training sessions around generative AI where you say, Tuesday afternoon, everybody, we're going to get them into a room and we're going to actually do something structured around using LLMs effectively within workflows? Does that still have value, or do you think it's better for it to be more loose and intuitive and employee-led?
Ben, I think you need to offer all kinds of different ways to learn because all of us have different preferences in terms of how we learn. So absolutely, I mean, at Section, we're full of AI experts, and we still do a Friday lunch and learn every week on teaching our team new AI skills. So I would offer asynchronous or learning on demand. I would offer appointment-based learning. I would offer AI-powered learning. I don't think we don't all learn the same way. And I think structure helps, and accountability for learning also helps. So absolutely, I'd be hosting, regular training sessions. I'd be hosting office hours, just drop-in office hours. I'd be setting up a chat channel in Microsoft Teams or Slack or whatever your preferred company chat channel is, where all those questions can be aggregated and the AI experts can kind of hang out and answer those questions. You want to come at this from different angles with a degree of consistency, being up to date. And also make it fun. I think we want sessions that make AI fun. Create songs with AI, create podcasts with AI, create images and videos with AI. I don't think it needs to be all work. We can fall in love with AI in different ways, and that's what we're trying to get people to do. We want them to fall in love with AI. And the last thing I'd say is we want them to imagine with AI. So much of AI right now, we're talking about efficiency and productivity, saving money. And that's right. That's how I think AI will pay for itself in the early days. But the reality and I think the excitement about AI, the optimism about AI is justified around what can we create that's new with AI. So again, give people these skills to be proficient, encourage them to use it, keep those skills up to date, keep them sharp, and then start to ask them to experiment with AI and explore and imagine and build with AI. Because that's how we'll get new products, new business models, new services, new ways of doing things that we can't do today. Because we'll understand how the power of these AI tools and how we can be creative with them. I want people that can create with AI, not just cut with AI.
Thank you so much, Greg. I really appreciate it. Super interesting. And again, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Ben.